When the Buddha became enlightened, he saw all of his previous lives, and those previous lives included his lives as animals and as other human beings. He told the Jataka Tales to show that he has been here before. He's been here many times. He has appeared as a child amongst children, animal amongst animals. He even is present in nature, in the trees and in the flowers. Thus, the Buddha is a monkey amongst monkeys, a deer amongst deers, a child amongst children. And he has always loved all those that he has been surrounded by. This story is a Jataka tale called The Monkey Bridge. There once lived a giant-like monkey, and he lived with 80,000 other monkeys in the Himalayas. There, between the rocks where they lived, flowed the river Ganges before it went down to the valley where the cities stood below. And there, between the rocks and the rushing water, stood a most magnificent tree. In the spring, it had tender white flowers, and later it was heavily laden with the most wonderful fruit, of which none other could compare. And the sweet mountain air gave them the sweetness of honey. How happy the monkeys were. They ate the fruit of the tree, and they kept cool in its shade. But part of the tree grew over the river. And any time a flower would grow there, the monkeys would pluck it and destroy it. And should a fruit start to grow there, they would pluck that too and destroy it. For their chief had warned them, saying, "Beware, do not let a single fruit fall into the river. For if it does, it will be carried by the current down to the valley, to the cities below. And when people see such a beautiful fruit, they will come in search of it, and finding the tree, they will take all the fruit, and we will be forced to flee." And so for a very long time, no fruit fell into the river. But the day came where, hidden behind an ant's nest, unseen between the leaves, a little flower grew into a fruit, and that fruit ripened and grew larger, and when it was at its most sweetest, most delicious, most juiciest, it dropped plop into the river and was sent down on the current, down through the rocks, down to the valley, to the city below. It reached the city of Benares, where King Brahmadatta was out having a bath, and there were fishermen around him with their nets. And as the king was diving and splashing and playing in the water, catching sunbeams in the ripples, the fruit floated into one of the fishermen's nets. And the fisherman, when he discovered it, said, "Oh, how wonderful. What a beautiful fruit. I wonder where it's come from. I've never seen anything like it." And he took it, and his eyes were sparkling, and he presented it to the king. And the king had never seen anything like it either. And he gazed at it, and he marveled at its beauty. And he thought to himself, where has such a beautiful fruit come from? I have never seen anything like it. And there was a woodcutter working nearby. So he summoned the woodcutter over and asked the woodcutter. And the woodcutter said, "Sire, this is a mango, the most delicious fruit. But mangoes don't grow down here in the valley. They grow up in the Himalayas, where the mountain air is clean and pure, and the sun is always shining. The tree that this fruit came from surely grows on the river bank, where the fruit has dropped into the river and come down to the city." And so King Pramadatta had his servant taste the fruit first, and then tasting the fruit himself, he shared it with his ministers and attendants, and they all agreed this was the most divine, delicious fruit they had ever tasted. Time passed, and the king grew restless. How he longed to taste that fruit again. And when he would sleep at night, his head would be filled with visions of a magical tree, each branch holding 100 golden cups of sweet nectar and honey. And so he commanded that an expedition be sent out, that a boat be sailed up the river Ganges to the Himalayas in search of the tree, and he would go with them. And the journey took some time, and they passed many rice fields and fields of flowers, but eventually one evening they reached the Himalayas. There, gazing into the distance, what do you think they saw? Saw the tree, and its golden fruit was sparkling in the moonlight. But there were strange shadows moving through the tree and a hushing noise through the leaves. And one of the men cried out, "Look, there's a troop of monkeys living in the tree." And King Brahmadatta said, "Monkeys living in the tree? Surround the tree. In the morning we will shoot them all and eat their meat and of the fruit." Some of the monkeys heard this, and they went to their chief and they said, "We did as you said, but some fruit may have fallen into the river, as there's humans here, and they've said that they're going to kill us all and eat our flesh and of the fruit." And their chief saw that they were very afraid, and he comforted them and assured them, saying, "Do not fear, I will save you, but you must do exactly as I say." And so he climbed up to the topmost branch of the tree, and he jumped faster than the wind rushing through the leaves, 100 bow lengths across the river bank to a tree on the other side. And down there, on the other side of the river, he found a very long reed, a reed over 100 bow lengths, and he pulled that up, and he said, "I will tie one end of this reed to the tree and the other to my foot, and I will jump back across and tie it to our tree, making a bridge which my people can escape." And so he did this. He tied one end of the reed to the tree, he tied the other to his foot, and again he took a giant leap faster than the wind, rushing through the leaves, 100 bow lengths to the other side. But he realized then that he hadn't accounted for the extra length that would be needed to tie around the branch. So he clung tightly to the branch, and he said to himself, I will make a bridge with my back that my people may escape to freedom. And so he clung mightily to the branch, and he called over the 80,000 monkeys, and he told them to go across his back, across the reed to safety. But one amongst them, called Devadatta, jumped heavily on his back, and searing pain went through his spine. His back was broken, and Devadatta continued heartlessly along, leaving his chief in great pain. Now, King Brahmadatta had been watching from down below, and tears were rolling down his cheeks. And he called for the broken monkey to be brought down from the tree. And himself, he bathed him in perfumed water. And he gave him sweet water to drink and dressed him in silk robes and laid him under the shade of the tree. And he said, "O Blessed One, you made of your back a bridge to save your people. Did you not know that in doing so you would lose your life? Who are you? And who are they that you would sacrifice your life for them?" And the monkey said, "I am their chief and leader. They lived with me in this tree, and I was their father, and I loved them. I do not suffer in leaving this world, as I know I have brought my people to freedom." And if you can learn from my death, then I am all the more happier. It is not your sword that makes you a king. It is love, and love alone. Do not forget, your life is but little to give, if in so giving it brings about the happiness of your people. Rule them not with power because they are your subjects. Rule them with love because they are your children. Do not forget, O Brahmadatta, after I die, do not forget my words. Only love can make you a king. And he closed his eyes and he died. And King Brahmadatta mourned him, and his people mourned him. And he had a great temple built that his words would never be forgotten, a great temple pure and white. And his words weren't forgotten, and King Brahmadatta ruled his people with love. May all live happily.